Welcome back, lovely ladies. If you want to become the woman of your dreams, make sure to hit that subscribe button and like this video. And join our Patreon for even more exclusive content. Now, let's dive into today's story.
Steve Jones was well liked by everyone. He was the guy you knew you could count on to help you with everything from moving to putting in a new lawn. He helped anyone he could. He was a friend to everyone who met him. At work, he was known as the guy to go to if you needed help. They were on break, and Sue Strom was telling Steve about her problems. She said, "I don't have room in my apartment for all of my clothes. Since I started going with Malcolm, I have changed my style. I don't want to give the clothes away, but I don't know what to do." Steve said, "I may be able to help a little bit. I have one of those wooden wardrobes in my garage. You know, the ones where half is open with a rod to hang things, and the other side has shelves for things. I have a couple of boards on one side and a box of tools on the other. I can find someplace else for them. You may be able to hang 8 or 10 dresses in it, and if you have anything in boxes, they could go on the other side." Sue told him, "That's an appealing offer. If you really don't mind me storing some things, I would appreciate it. It'll take me a couple of days to get my clothes sorted out." Steve told her it wasn't a problem. She thanked him and went back to work. After work that night, after he had eaten, he went out and cleaned out the wardrobe. He looked at it, and it brought back memories of the first house he and Patricia had bought. There wasn't a lot of closet space, so they'd had it in their bedroom. Now their house had lots of closet space. It was one of the things that had sold them on this house. 2 nights later, Sue was there after supper with a loaded car. He watched as she hung a dozen dresses in the wardrobe and hauled boxes of stuff and put them on the shelves. Finished, she asked where Pat was, and he told her Pat was at the gym working out. He told her that Pat worked out for about 2 hours a night twice a week. Sue took a red dress out of the wardrobe and said, "This is one of my favorite dresses, but it is too short for Malcolm. He wants me to wear longer skirts and such." She showed him a maid's outfit and said, "This is what I was wearing when I met Malcolm. I figured I better get rid of it before he gets ideas. I am no man's maid." She reached into a box and took out a pair of heels with a 5-inch heel on it and said, "I can't wear these because then I am taller than he is, and that isn't good. I have big feet for a woman. These shoes and probably all of these clothes would fit you. If you want to wear them, go ahead." He said that wasn't funny, and she said she was only kidding. Steve locked the wardrobe and handed her the key. She said she was afraid of losing it, so they put it in the top corner drawer of a small parts cabinet on his workbench for safekeeping. He was in watching TV when Pat got home. She was bubbling about next week's activities at the health club. They were going to have an arm wrestling contest. She told him she was entered, and it looked like fun. The following Saturday morning, he was playing golf when a package came in the mail. It was a set of knickknacks that Pat had ordered for the kitchen. She knew right where she wanted them. She went out into the garage and got the hammer. She couldn't find the nails. She looked all over but couldn't find any. She tried the wardrobe to see if they were in there. It was locked. She looked again on top of the workbench. She looked in the small parts cabinet. She didn't find any nails but saw the key in the top corner drawer. She figured the nails must be in the wardrobe, so she tried the key. She was totally surprised to see the dresses hanging in there. At first she was wondering why there were clothes in there. Then she thought about it. The more she thought, the more she convinced herself that they were Steve's. Who else's could they be? She became angry and started to look in the boxes. Everything was so feminine. She looked at the dresses and they were all either lace-trimmed or ruffled or both. She looked at the sizes and saw they were his size. She looked in the boxes, and when she saw all the shoes with extremely high heels, she wondered how he walked in them. She checked out every box. She noted there was no makeup in any. She thought he probably didn't use any because it might be hard to get off. She also noticed there was no stockings or panties in there. She was angry that he would indulge himself this way. She relocked the wardrobe and went in the house to have a cup of coffee and think. She sat at the table and thought about what she should do. She decided that if he liked to wear that stuff, she would give him lots of time to wear it. If he wanted to dress like a woman, he could. He could also do all the housework and experience all the things a woman does except have a period. She laid out a plan of action. When he got back from golf, she told him that she needed nails for the knickknacks. She told him she looked for nails and couldn't find any. He took her out into the garage and showed her a drawer below the top of the workbench with nails and screws in it in little bins. She had never looked there. He was pounding in the nails while she was imagining what he would look like if he were wearing a dress. She decided he might not look too bad. The knickknacks were hung, and she then said she had some shopping to do. She said she would probably be gone for 3 hours or so. He said fine and went to watch TV. She returned home 45 minutes later, hoping to catch him in a dress. She was disappointed when he wasn't wearing a dress. She was sure he would be. They were eating a late lunch, and Pat said, "While shopping, I picked some things up for you. After lunch, I want you to take a shower. I will help you, so don't start before me." Steve thought they would shower together. They hadn't done that since their honeymoon over 5 years ago. He looked forward to some hot sex afterward. He was really anticipating the rest of the afternoon. Pat met him in the bathroom and started to rub some lotion on him. She rubbed it all over his body. Then she had him wait before getting in the shower. By the time he was told to take his shower, he was more than ready. The lotion had stung all over his body. He was shocked to see his body hair go down the drain. When he stepped out of the shower, Pat was waiting for him. She held a pair of panties for him to put on. He asked, "Is this for something kinky?" She said, "You may think that. Now step into these." He stepped into the panties and she pulled them up. She took him into the bedroom and had him sit on the edge of the bed. She slid stockings up his legs. He thought they felt sexy. He was starting to get hard. She fastened a black garter belt around him and threaded the garters through the panties and hooked the stockings. Then, to his wonderment, she attached some breast forms to his chest. He went into shock. He was amazed at how heavy they felt on his chest. He wondered what she was doing but didn't say anything. When she fastened a bra on him, he was thunderstruck. This wasn't going like he thought the afternoon would go. She told him he would have to finish dressing in the garage. He didn't know why they would, but thought she must have more in the car. They went out to the garage. Pat said, "Now, where can we find the rest of your outfit? Let's see, do you have anything hidden out here?" She got the key to the wardrobe and said, "I know, let's look in the wardrobe." She opened the wardrobe and said, "Well, look at that. There are all kinds of outfits for you to wear." Steve said, "Those aren't mine. They are Sue's from work. She needed a place to store them, so I told her she could put them there." Pat said, "I'll believe you if they don't fit you. If they fit you, they must be yours. I thought I knew everything about you, but I guess I was wrong. Put this on." She handed him a slip. It was black and had a lace-trimmed bottom ruffle. Still in a daze, he put it on. She then handed him a coral dress with lace trim in front and bell sleeves with cords hanging from them. She buttoned up the back, knowing he wouldn't be able to unbutton it. Then she found a pair of dyed heels to match the dress. When she put them on his feet, they fit perfectly. Pat said, "Now isn't that a coincidence? Everything fits perfectly. Follow me, I have to get your makeup on." She took him into the house and sat him at a dining room chair. She got the makeup she had bought for him. She applied foundation, eyeshadow, and blush. Then she outlined his lips with a lip pencil before applying a heavy coat of lipstick. She stood back and looked at him. Other than his hair, he didn't look bad. She went and got a turban scarf to tie around his head. It was so close to the color of his dress, it looked like it was supposed to be part of his outfit. She told him to walk around a bit. He had great trouble walking in the heels. She thought for a moment maybe he was right, then thought it might be an act he was putting on to convince her he had never worn them before. She handed him a broom and told him to sweep the kitchen floor. He was sweeping it and taking very short steps. He was getting used to the heels. He didn't know why, but it seemed natural to do what Pat said. He finished sweeping and she told him to mop it right away. He mopped it and it sparkled when he was done. He emptied the bucket of soap water and put the things away. Pat came and handed him a clutch purse and told him they were going shopping. He told her he couldn't go out like that, but she pulled him along. In the heels, he couldn't put up much of a fight. She drove them to a wig store, and when they were inside, she told him to pick out whatever style he wanted. He couldn't decide, so she picked one in his hair color with wavy curls that fell to the middle of his back. They got a wig cap for him, and he had to wear it out of the store. Pat thought he could pass as a woman easily. Then she stopped at a woman's accessory store. There she got him a lace-edge ribbon for his hair and 3 pairs of earrings. She saw a woman's watch with a matching bracelet on sale and got that. Then she spied a matching necklace and picked that up also. She was heading for the checkout when she saw a belt that locked on. She didn't know why, but she picked it up. It was a black stretch belt with a square gold buckle. After they had checked out and had left the store, she had him put on the watch and jewelry. She put the ribbon in his hair and thought how nice he looked. On the way home, she thought she never knew he was so submissive, then thought about all the times she had him do some housework, and he never complained or refused to do it. Meanwhile, he was thinking about how he was going to get out of this. He knew he had to call Sue and have her explain to Pat about it. He also thought about how nice the clothes felt, so soft and light that they seemed like you had nothing at all on, except for the shoes. They were murder. When they got home, Pat told him to clean the living room carpet. He said he wanted to make a phone call, but Pat told him she gave him something to do and wanted it done right away. He went and started the cleaning. Pat sat and thought about how wonderful it felt, telling him to do something and him doing it. She looked at him cleaning and imagined how he would look in the maid's outfit she had seen in the wardrobe. He finished cleaning the living room and Pat told him it was time to start supper. She told him to make it. He started supper, and while it was cooking, he tried to call Sue but got an answering machine. As they were eating supper, Pat told him, "Tomorrow wear the maid's outfit. First thing in the morning, do your makeup and get the outfit on. Then you can make my breakfast. I'll have it in bed. I'll have toast, orange juice, and 1 egg over easy and 2 slices of bacon. Tomorrow you will be my maid all day." He hoped Sue would call before that. The evening was spent watching a tearjerker movie on TV. When they went to bed, Pat handed him one of her loose-fitting nightgowns for him to wear to bed. He put it on and was surprised at how sexy it felt. He still had feelings that this wasn't right, but couldn't get up the courage to stand up to Pat. The next morning, he got up and did his makeup as best he could, then got the maid's outfit and put it on. The cap didn't want to stay on his head, so he got some hairpins and pinned it in place. He made Pat's breakfast and took it in to her. She told him to get her clothes out for the day, telling him what she wanted. She was going to wear a shirt and jeans. Pat said, "You usually mow the lawn every Sunday morning, so you can do it after you put my dirty dishes away." Steve said, "I have to change clothes for that. I can't mow the lawn in this." Pat said, "Sure you can. It isn't indecent, and you are already dressed, so you can mow it in that." Steve's heart sunk. He didn't want to go out like that, and he tried to think of what would change her mind. He couldn't come up with anything. When he had put the dirty dishes in the dishwasher, he went out to mow the lawn. He knew the neighbors slept late on Sunday mornings and hoped they would still be in bed. His heels kept sinking into the ground, so he had to walk on tiptoe. By the time he finished the front yard, his legs were killing him. He finished the backyard with no one seeing him. He was thankful for that. When he got in, Pat was up and told him to get the Sunday paper in. He had to go to the end of the driveway to get it. As he got it and was turning around, he saw the neighbor across the street getting her paper. She said hi, and he waved and hoped she didn't see him clearly as she wore glasses and wasn't wearing them. He gave the paper to Pat, and she told him he had to scrub the bathrooms. She told him that included the tub and toilet, and to clean the mirrors and countertops. She told him to sweep and scrub and rinse the floor on his hands and knees. He started to do them when he heard the phone ring. He knew Pat had answered it. It was Sue. Sue told Pat they had gotten home at 2 in the morning, so she was calling now. Pat asked her if she could come over. She said she would be there in 5 minutes. 5 minutes later, Sue was there. Steve didn't hear them, as he was busy in the main bathroom scrubbing the tub. He was hoping Sue would call so he could get out of the heels. His legs were killing him. Pat said to Sue, "Steve tells me he is storing some clothes for you. Is that so?" Sue replied, "Yes, I don't have space for all of my clothes, and he was so kind as to let me use the wardrobe in the garage." "Why is there a problem with that?" Pat said, "Absolutely not a problem at all. But you see, I found the clothes and thought they were his and that he wasn't telling me about them, so I put him in them. I'm sorry, I really didn't know they were yours." Sue said, "That's all right, I told him he could wear them. I was just kidding, but I don't mind. What's he wearing today?" Pat told her the maid's outfit. Sue said she would love to see him in it. Pat said that would be no problem. Pat went to the bathroom and told him to bring 2 cups of coffee on a tray with cream and sugar to the living room right away. He went to the kitchen, and he didn't see Sue as he passed through. He got the tray down out of the cupboard and set up the creamer and sugar bowl, then poured 2 cups of coffee and went to serve it. He took it in and went right to Pat. Pat said, "You should serve our guest first." He turned and saw Sue. His face got fire red. He just about dropped the tray. He took it over to her and said, "You have to tell her those are your clothes in the garage." Sue said, "I already told her that, but you look so sweet in that you can have it. In fact, you can have all of the clothes out there. You really look good in a dress. You should wear one all the time." Pat said, "I'm sure he will be wearing one more often than not. See how well he walks in those heels. He is a natural at it." Steve was so shocked at hearing this, he sat down in the recliner. He was just out of it. How could Pat say something like that? Sue asked if they had a picture of him in his outfit. Pat said she hadn't thought about that, but it was a good idea, and she would see that Sue got one. Sue asked if she could have some of him in some of the other outfits. Pat said that would be no problem. Pat told him to go finish his cleaning. He finished the main bath and was going to the half bath when Pat told him to put away the dirty dishes. He saw Sue had left when he got the dishes. As he was picking up the tray, he saw a flash. Pat had snapped his picture. He put the dirty dishes in the dishwasher, then started it. Then he did the half bath. When he was done, Pat inspected them. She told him they were excellent. She said it was almost time for supper and she would treat him to a meal out. He said he would rather not go, but she insisted. She told him to put the red dress on. He did it, and it clung to his curves like a glove. He had put the red heels on, and they had 6-inch heels. He had some difficulty walking in them, but Pat told him to put one foot in front of the other. It helped, but made his rear sway seductively. They ate at a steakhouse, and no one seemed to notice that he wasn't a woman. After they ate, Pat told him he had to redo his lipstick. He had to go to the bathroom, but thought he would hold it until they got home. She sent him to the bathroom, and while he was there, he sat and went. He came out of the stall and did his lipstick. He was thankful there wasn't anyone else in there. As he was going out, a woman was going in. She smiled at him as if nothing was wrong. Feeling a little more confident, he returned to their table. Pat had paid the bill, and they left. On the way home, Pat saw a movie that was playing, so she stopped so they could see the movie. Halfway through, he had to go to the bathroom again. This time he had to stand in line to go. It wasn't as bad as he thought it would be as he went, and when he came out, he redid his lipstick after washing his hands. He felt pretty proud of himself by the time he got back to his seat. After the movie was over, they went back home. At home, Pat told him he could wear the soft brown dress with the wide white lace trim tomorrow. He said he wasn't wearing a dress to work, but Pat told him he was. He was adamant about it, and Pat told him if he could get his clothes on properly, he could wear them, otherwise he was going in a dress. He agreed. As they were getting ready for bed, he put the nightgown on without her saying anything. The next morning he was up earlier than usual. He got his pants on, but when he put his shirt on, it wouldn't button over the breast forms. He looked and saw Pat was awake. He told her the breast forms had to come off. She said they stay on, and that he should get the brown dress on. Resignedly, he got dressed in the brown dress and found a pair of brown heels to go with it. He had 1 cup of coffee and was going to leave for work. Pat handed him a pack of pictures for Sue. She told him to be sure to give them to her. She noticed he was leaving earlier than usual. He arrived at work and quickly went in. He thought his heels were very noisy on the sidewalk. He got into the locker room and it was empty. He quickly shed the dress and slip and shoes. He put an old loose-fitting sweatshirt on and a pair of work jeans. When he had his shoes on, he went and looked in the mirror. He noticed right away he still had makeup on. He washed it off and looked. He didn't look too bad, so he headed for the break room for another cup of coffee. He was finishing it when Jeff Largent came up to him. Jeff said, "I'm moving into our new house on Saturday. I was wondering if you could help us move. You have a knack for loading trailers and trucks. I would really appreciate it." Steve replied, "I'm sorry, but I can't. I would like to, but it is impossible. I am really sorry I can't help you." Jeff told him they would make it all right, but that they would miss him. He felt bad that he couldn't help him, but there was no way he was going to appear in front of anyone he knew in a dress if he could help it. Mid-morning, he saw Sue and headed up to her. He handed her the pictures, saying, "You have really let me down. Today, Jeff asked me to help him move on Saturday, but I had to turn him down. I guess the days of helping people are gone thanks to you. I don't know what you and my wife cooked up, but I don't think I can trust you anymore. Congratulations. You have completely changed my life and my relationship with my wife. You can be proud of yourself." Sue started to cry, but he turned and walked away. At the end of the day, he waited until everyone had left, then went and changed. When he got home, he wasn't surprised when Pat handed him an apron and told him to make supper. During supper, Pat asked him about his day. He told her about Jeff and that he wasn't going to help him, and Pat asked why. He told her he wasn't going to appear in front of anyone he knew in a dress if he could help it. He said that she probably would have stuff for him to do anyway. She smiled and started thinking of things for him to do. She told him the garage needed sweeping and that he could do it after the dishes were put away. When he was ready to sweep the garage, he backed both cars out and closed the door and started to sweep. He got it swept and opened the door and was driving the second car in when he saw a car pull into the driveway. He saw it was Sue, but he closed the garage door anyway. He went inside as the doorbell rang. Pat told him to answer it, and he told her he knew who it was and he had nothing to say to her. Pat answered the door. Sue came in and started to talk to Pat. She said, "You have to let him dress as a man." Today he turned Jeff down when Jeff asked him for help. Steve has always been the one person we could count on for help with anything. Now he has changed, and he blames me. I had tears in my eyes most of the day after he talked to me. I feel lower than low about myself. I beg of you to let him return to being the man he was. I thought it was funny when I saw him in the maid's outfit, but now I am sick that I might have caused it. Please let him change back. He told me he will never trust me again, and that hurts. I really like him and I don't want him to hate me. He has been one of the best friends I have ever had. I don't want to lose that friendship. Please, oh please, let him wear his regular clothes. If I could, I would take all of those clothes out of here, but I gave them to you. Could you just forget about them and let things go back to where they were? I'm begging you to. Sue was crying uncontrollably by now, and Pat had tears in her eyes. She got up and went to Sue and hugged her. They both cried together, and finally Pat got herself composed. She told Sue to sit down, and she would get Steve. She went to find him. He wasn't in the garage, kitchen, dining area, or bathroom. She finally found him sitting on the edge of the bed. She told him to come into the living room, and he asked if Sue was still here. She told him yes, but he should come in anyway. He told her he didn't have anything to say to her. She told him he didn't have to talk to her. He finally consented to go into the living room. When they got back to the living room, Pat said, "Sorry to take so long. It took some doing to get him to come in here." She turned toward Steve and said, "Steve, Sue has been telling me some interesting things. They are things I didn't think of when I put you in a dress. I want to tell you in front of her, I was wrong. I should have believed you in the first place, and I shouldn't have gotten carried away the way I did. Sue told me how you have changed, and neither of us like it. You help everyone, and we don't want to change that. Sue tells me you said some nasty things to her, and I am sure you had reason to, but it hurt her terribly. That is why she is here. Like I said, she has told me some things that tell me to let you change back into the man you were. I married you because you were so caring, and I don't want to be part of anything that is going to make you change away from that. I owe you a great apology, and I ask that you forgive me. I am truly sorry for what I did." Pat was crying, and Steve knew that she was talking honestly. His heart went out to her, and he finally got up and went over to her and kissed her. He told her it was all right. Then Sue tearfully asked, "Can you ever forgive me? I thought it was funny seeing you in the maid's outfit, and you looked so convincing. I am truly sorry for all that happened because of me and your trying to help me. Today was my worst day at work after I talked to you. I am so very sorry." He went and gave her a kiss on the cheek and told her he wasn't mad at her anymore. He told her he was sorry for what he said to her at work. He didn't want to ruin her day, but he had to get it off of his chest. It took a good 15 minutes for everyone, including Steve, to settle down to have a normal conversation. "Well, I guess I can take these damn shoes off now. I can't see how you can walk in them for very long." Sue said, "I got a confession to make. I could only wear them for maybe an hour or two before my legs started to hurt. I'll never figure out why I bought more than one pair." They all laughed, and Pat added, "It's one of those things women do to attract men's attention. We don't always like it, but we do it. Sue said, "You know you don't look bad at all in a dress. It brings out more color in your face and you move yourself more gracefully." Steve rejoined, "It's those shoes. You have to watch every step, or you're going to fall and break something." Sue told them she had to leave and concluded by saying, "I have something for you. I don't know why I asked for them in the first place." She handed him the group of pictures. She gave him a kiss on the cheek and departed. As soon as she was gone, Pat said, "She is really a nice girl. She cares for you very much. You are so lucky to have friends like that. I don't know of any of my friends that would come and talk to you like she talked to me." He responded, "Sue is a good kid. She sometimes gets carried away with her emotions, but most of the time she knows and does the right thing. She just has to be goaded sometimes." Pat said, "What I am really sorry about is that I didn't believe you in the first place. I made up my mind that you were wearing those clothes, and I wasn't about to change it. Then when Sue told me those were her clothes, I just enjoyed my dominance and kept it up. It will not happen again, I promise you. I love you very, very, very much." They kissed, and Pat knew he had forgiven her. She laughingly said, "I guess I lost my maid and I'll have to get back to work." Steve surprised her by saying, "If you got me some sensible shoes, I could help once in a while, but no ultra-high heels."
Did you like the story? Hit that like button and tell me what you thought in the comments. Do you want to hear more stories? Subscribe and hit the bell. For exclusive content and early access, check out our Patreon. You can find the link in the description, or you can watch any of the videos shown on my right. Thank you for watching and see you in the next video.